For me, Dubai was love at first sight. Many existing millionaires come here. We have, I don't know, we have refugees. Let's call them.
Millionaire.
I'd rather cry in a Ferrari than a Honda Civic. I'm telling you.
Does it make sense to invest in gold jewelry or gold as an asset?
I mean,
Welcome to the first episode of The Hustle powered by Jetex. It's a brand new show from Gulf News where we talk to the movers and shakers in the city. I'm Manjusha Radhakrishnan, Entertainment Editor, Gulf News, and with me is Dhanusha Gokulan, who is the Chief Business Reporter. Today on the hot seat, we have Maurice Gravier, the Group Chief Investment Officer from Emirates NBD. Thank you so much, Maurice, for speaking to us. I'm so excited that we are going to get the best advice from the industry expert. And full disclosure, I don't know what's the difference between a savings account and a current account. But I'm so happy I'm going to learn from the best, isn't it?
She's telling the truth. She really does not know the difference between. I think it's right now you're a little around it. And hopefully by the end of the conversation, she would,
I can retire.
hopefully, very happy to help.
Thank you, Maurice.
You're too young to retire.
Maurice, to start off, tell us, what does a Chief Investment Officer do? What does your typical day look like?
It's a very good question. It's not a very well-known role. It's a very nice-sounding title. And there are many definitions of what a Chief Investment Officer does. What all CIOs do is to be in charge of the investment process, which means how do you run money, how do you build portfolios, how do you advise clients, the rules in which markets, in which levels of risk or whatever. For me at Emirates NBD, it also includes overseeing the policies, this kind of thing, but most importantly, the strategy, which is where should you invest your money now? How should you build your portfolio now? What does, President Trump, how will he impact this market or this market? Where are the opportunities? So we do that.
Right. I've always wondered, Maurice, what's your hustle? Like, what's your Dubai hustle story like? To be a French person in a very important position, of course. I've always been curious, like, how did you make your mark here?
Oh, okay. It's an interesting question. You're right. We French people, typically, we don't really speak English usually. We just pretend. So that's something that makes it a bit difficult in Dubai. Well, look, I always wanted to come here. So for me, my hustle, let's say I have built 20 plus years of experience in Europe in a leading asset management firm. So, running funds, portfolios for US pension funds, institutional investors, very demanding investors. Then I moved to Switzerland for wealth management. So in also a quite excellent Swiss private bank to learn how you take care of ultra high net worth individual. And once I had this experience, it was time for me to go to Dubai. And yeah,
I love it. Journey. You're such a globetrotter, by the way. Yeah. I think he's been around.
100%. But what brought you here, Maurice? Like, was it a happy coincidence or was it a planned move? Did you at some point in your career look at the Middle East, look at Dubai in particular, and decide, you know what, that's where I want to be? How did that happen?
You are reading my mind. Actually, for me, Dubai was love at first sight. And to tell you the story, and we have planes around. The first time I came here, I was going to vacation. I was between France and Mauritius. And I was too tall for the economy class, but too poor for the business class. So I made a stop in Dubai.
Where we are, babe. Where we are. I hope we ever get upgraded to business class.
For economy class sometimes.
I split. I said, Dubai is in the middle. And back in the days, there was a very smart initiative from the government saying, hey, don't just transit, stay a couple of nights. And then again, love at first sight. It was early 2000. I remember the Emirates Tower were about to be finished, I think. So, and I saw this place and I saw the smile of the people and most importantly, the optimism of the place. People were here looking at the future with a smile. And I told myself, oh my God, I have to come here. And then it took me 15 years to find the right opportunity. And again, I wanted to build something to bring to this country. So I built this experience in very sophisticated firms in Europe before coming here, but it was the plan since 2000. Yeah.
And you felt like you fitted right in. You didn't feel like because culturally these are two very different places, right? Like from Europe.
It is
and the Middle
definitely,
East.
but it is so welcoming. I mean, that's the thing. And for me, the key was the energy. You know,
Right.
something that is important to me. The energy, the warmth of the people, and this idea that nothing is impossible, and let's go and be the best. You know, I'm French, and most of the Western world, we don't look at the future like it's going to be much better than the past, which is very
Interesting,
sad.
isn't it?
But in your heart, are you still very much French, very much European, or do
Of
you
course,
somewhere
of
there
course.
you have like a little Emirati who has made a little space for
Well,
itself?
France is my home country. It's in my heart. I love my country. Having said that, I love the UAE as well because of this. It's an amazing balance between what you bring to the country. It's given back to you twice.
That's true.
I mean,
Excellent. True.
and that's and everything is possible. And for as a place to live, I don't know if one day I was offered to choose between being a French citizen and an Emirati citizen, it would be a very difficult decision to take.
I can imagine that.
Yes.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
You know what I love about Dubai, Maurice, is that it's a city of millionaires. Every day you hear of people just turning
Yes.
into this instantly rich, super wealthy. But what do they do with all the money?
Where does it go?
Definitely not our pockets,
Yes,
but
yeah.
where does it go?
What people do with their money, it's kind of a personal thing. What we see is a kind of bling and whatever, and many people are a bit amplifying this perception of Dubai, which for me Dubai is not about that at all. And yes, many successful people come here. Many existing millionaires come here. We have I don't know. We have refugees. Let's call that.
Millionaire.
Oh my God, did you just call them? Listen, I'd rather cry in a Ferrari than a Honda Civic. I'm telling you, put it up there.
I have never heard that word coined before. Millionaire refugees. That's like a headline
That's
point.
really, but you also have, most importantly, I think, many entrepreneurs, and that's and the vibe of this place is about that. You know even better than me what has been achieved. In just 54 years, which is very young.
It's a young city.
I was also born in 1971. That's why I find
You're as old as Dubai?
As old as Dubai.
I love it.
Exactly, yeah. And that's where everything is possible. And you have much more entrepreneur. And for me, the future is not about, not just about being the safe haven for the millionaires of the world who are tired of tax and not enough safety and whatever. It's the place for entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
But I want to understand from you, Maurice, because in all seriousness, this, like, do you endorse that kind of a lifestyle? Because there are a lot of people who come here, into the UAE in huge droves, right? And they get enamored by this lifestyle, adopt that maximalist life, and end up in this very serious debt trap. We've heard millions of stories of, that happening to so many people, right? So how does that sort of make you feel? And do you think, is it just a perception, or is that actually reality?
I think it's getting better, but it's very true. And we all have very sad stories of people who came, who made good money, but the temptations of the lifestyle are such that, yes, you buy a Lamborghini with a 5-year loan and you go out a bit.
It's a dark hole after that.
At the end, you're in debt. It's very true, but I think it's getting better because first, these are the things that are a bit visible. And for me, the beauty of the place is that you can really have the lifestyle you want. And this bit of extravagant lifestyle, yes, it exists for sure, but it's not that many people. Personally, I am a very quiet person. I spend time with my family. I walk my dog in the beautiful streets of Jumeirah 1. You can have this life. And yes, you're right. We see this kind of phenomenon, and unfortunately, we see that a bit everywhere. It's just that in Dubai you have more temptations, probably, and maybe we banks have some responsibility because we lend money a bit easily. For many reasons, because we know that you can't really escape your debt if you do something wrong. So we trust a bit easily, and maybe there is a bit of financial literacy to do on that side as well.
Anyway. So is that how we should address it? Like this summer, I intend to send Arya, who's 14, my teenage daughter, to a financial literacy course, how to save smart. Because I think, you know what, she can learn all the algorithms and the math, but if you don't know how to deal with 100 dirhams in a day or in a month, what do you do?
Yeah,
Something I
yeah.
think I like because I love retail therapy.
Yeah.
So I'm just
And
trying to offset
also,
that.
I want, because I know you wanted to be an educator.
Yes.
Math
You know
teacher was
everything.
something.
A math
told
teacher?
us.
Yeah, that
You
was
would
my
have been-
dream job
yeah.
when
You would have been a good teacher, I
I
think.
think you would have been an excellent teacher.
You're very
because
kind.
I've seen
I
your
like
videos
that.
on LinkedIn. They are just so informative. You would have made a great teacher. But now that you've been a banker for almost most of your life, right? What's your stand on financial literacy? Do you think our kids today know? I mean, at least when I was in school, I wasn't taught how to balance a checkbook, right? Like, we didn't know what debit and credit was.
Yes.
And I figured that out as I grew older.
I still don't know, Danusha, what debit and
Yes.
credit is. I get so confused.
But at what stage do you think we need to start talking to kids about financial
It's
literacy?
a major topic, and frankly, you're right to send your daughter because
she's
it should
14.
be taught
Yeah.
at school. When you think about, we spend more time learning, I don't know, how to drive. It's more organized than how to just budget. I'm not even talking about, okay, I want to invest in derivatives product. Not at all. Just budgeting, savings, knowing
Exactly.
what is the difference between savings, investment, speculation, this kind of thing. It's an essential skill, and it should begin at a very early age, definitely. And that's an issue for, you know, you are mentioning people who spiral into debt. That's also a lot about that. You just don't really know, as long as your credit card is approved, you consider that you can afford, which is not true. So it starts with budgeting, definitely. You know, yeah, maybe you are an inherited millionaire, so things are a bit different, but otherwise it's about looking at your revenues, your expenses, and trying to save, and understanding that there is a reason to save money, because wealth is freedom. It's not wealth for the number. It gives you options. You know,
Right.
options to very simply to face an issue. You need an emergency fund, and that's where savings are different from investment, because savings are something you keep available and liquid and low risk in case there is a problem. But it gives you option to I don't know, to quit a job you don't like, as simple
Yeah,
as
I
that,
can-
and to help your beloved or to spoil them, and of course to retire and whatever. So it starts with budgeting, and then it's about understanding the different layers of investments which are linked to time horizon at the end.
Is your life as glamorous as the one shown in The Wolf of Wall Street, where it's like great? You know, I really want to know. Say the truth. Be honest.
Not at all. Not one.
You know, suited up,
of that.
Fighting hard. No?
What about the movie Big Short? I've
Yes.
heard that's a lot.
I didn't
That's a
understand
beautiful
it.
one, yeah.
It is,
Yeah.
yes. Every
That's-
a person in finance says that. Big Short got it the
Yes.
most
It's very
accurately,
realistic.
yeah.
The Wolf of Wall Street.
It's not so
at all.
realistic?
I've never
disappointed
done
me.
any
Oh.
even 1% of the excesses that you see now there, except for the suit. And it's funny, if you allow me 1 minute on that, the reason why I became a banker initially, and I will lose lots of respect, but it was about the suit. Really.
Suited up?
Yeah, I was in a business school, and relatively old, but back in the days you had this movie like Wall Street or the
Gordon
first one,
Gekko?
or- yeah, exactly, and
Gordon Gekko, yes.
American Psycho, the book. There was not the movie, and I was thinking, oh my God, these guys are so elegant, and that's why I started to go in the bank.
I love it. I knew you had a fashionable bone in you. I knew it. Look at that
But
hair.
that's the
Look at
only
that
thing.
suit.
When we do wealth management, we are more in
Sedate.
the lower thing.
Right.
More
Very
zen.
understated.
Very zen.
Yeah.
Very
Oh,
zen.
okay.
It's
I
more.
thought, so it's not a stressful job then.
Oh, it is very stressful. It's always stressful.
I like the way he says it's all very zen. But is it stressful?
When you-
Very.
Yeah, you know, when you face the markets, it's always stressful.
Right.
The thing is that there are method and discipline and investment processes to manage that, because any investment decision, whether you are in a hedge fund or whatever, you will be right at best 60% of the time. It means you will be wrong 40% of the time.
Right.
Imagine that for, I don't know, a hairdresser or a dentist.
Oh my God.
Mm.
Yeah.
You fail 40% of the time, you will be out of business.
Yes.
We are
Yeah.
not, because that's how it is. You can't be right all the time, and it's all about the discipline and the processes to make more money when you're right. That's what you lose when you're wrong. So, but it's high pressure, because you shouldn't be carried away each time you're right, and you shouldn't panic too much when you're wrong. But it's
Right.
constant pressure.
So it's
No,
a
but
nice
how do you
state
keep-
of balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. But how do you maintain that balance? And especially in today's climate, right? Because there's so much uncertainty. And that's also been the case since 2020. Like, for lack of a better way to say it, none of us have caught a break since then. It's been like one thing after the other.
Sure.
So how are you staying zen now? Please tell us.
Yes, tell us the secret to your
If
zen
I'm
life.
talking professionally, so again, most of my job is to do an investment strategy for our clients, yes, the world changes potentially at every tweet from President Trump now, and we feel an acceleration of
Yes,
crisis.
it does. We are all hinged on that now.
So I've been quite lucky because I started as an equity analyst specialized in internet stocks in 1998. So it was the beginning of the bubble.
Wow.
So I told
So
myself, wow, that's the best job ever.
You rode the first wave, the very first wave.
So you are the OG rock star.
And then the worst crash ever. Yeah. I mean, and then we had September 11, and then the great financial crisis and everything. So first, I'm a bit used to that. Second, it's about purpose. We run people's wealth, which means we take care of their future, which is very important. But it also means we have time. We have an investment horizon. And if you've been through several crises, you know that there is no drawdown that cannot be compensated. It's about having a very cold analysis of the situation, and then it's about the process. I mean, being able to calibrate, to build portfolios that are reasonably resilient, so that you always have options. And that's why, to come back to financial literacy,
yes,
it's a bit more technical, but many people go through investment by thinking, oh, I have to find the one stock or the one whatever coin that will multiply by 10 or whatever. But if you do that, you are on one single risk and you can lose everything. While when you go through any crisis, if you are diversified enough, you always have options.
Right. I love that he says it, because I've always wondered that many businessmen especially told me that during COVID, they made the most money. I know it's a terrible time. People are dying, but it's also a time for opportunities, for reinvention. Do you as a banker as well think somewhere conflicts and challenging phases in any era kind of is the most industrious time for you, and you have to be enterprising at that point, isn't it?
The thing, of course, we would all prefer a world without conflicts and crises and whatever. For me, it's about the market reaction to this crisis, which, most of the time presents opportunities. What moves financial markets over the long term, we know it's things like growth and productivity, population. It's very visible thing that move very slowly. Over the short term, you have the fundamentals, so what happens in the economy, inflation, central banks. That's one thing. Second, you have valuation, whether every good news is priced in already or not. And then you have behavioral factors. Are people in panic or euphoria? That's what matters. Everything in between,
it's people management.
You can't really act. But each time you see panic, you have to look at it. Yeah,
I love it.
You have to look at
I love that quirky look. Yeah.
So this is such a great inside look. So what happens when you see a tweet and you see the words tariff war or US trade, like and from who? So
dollar
what happens to you at that time?
So yes, when there is a tweet, when there is a shock, we had a few shocks. I mean, DeepSeek, China's AI, was a shock, which was probably as important as the tariff, because suddenly it was saying, hey, the US is not alone. China is competing on everything, including AI. And then the tariffs, but again, you see the tariff. Stocks were down 15 to 20%. Huge shock. And then you think a bit and you say, okay, President Trump wrote a book called The Art of the Deal, where he says, textbook, start with outrageous demand, and then you will adjust to what you want. So tell yourself, okay, look at the tariff. There are tariffs on, the Falkland Islands or places where there's no inhabitants, and tell yourself, no, it's not possible, it's not reasonable, and markets are down 15%, so you jump on it. And all that matters is to have options, so that you are not in a position where when the markets go down, you have no options anymore, you are dead, you have to sell because you are in risk limit or these kind of things. That's what traders suffer. When you do investment with a diversified portfolio, you don't have this kind of issue. And
most Indian women right now are laughing their way to the bank because they hoard on the gold. What we love to do, I'm telling you, Maurice, we are the smart ones where we just invested. You know what? I'm happy I had a child, go buy gold. You know what? I'm sad, go buy gold again. So those are the ones laughing there. Do you think Indian women somewhere crack the code? Gold has become precious.
Yeah,
I have to ask you
I'm
that.
quite sure. I have utmost respect for Indian women in general, and in finance in particular. Our head of equity, who left us, was an Indian one, an amazing one. Gold is very interesting because it's very rational. I don't know for what reason you play gold.
Emotional. I'm very
But,
emotional about
rational.
it. Oh,
No,
rational.
it's
I'm
rational.
emotional about it. Sorry, I heard the
Yeah,
emotional
but
bit.
so whatever the reason, it's a currency you cannot print, and it's an asset which is a liability for nobody. And we're in a world where you have tons of debt everywhere, especially in Western governments, which is one of the things that keep me up at night for the next decade, because it won't be possible for this government to pay back their debt.
Yeah.
So either they default and it's a major catastrophe, or they print more money, which is what Japan has done to monetize it. And when you print lots of money, you want to have the currency that nobody can print, gold, and that is again a liability for no one. If you own a bond, it's a debt for someone else. If you own a stock, you're also in a balance sheet. Gold is gold. You have it, you put it under your bed or whatever.
Exactly. Oh, you wear it on you.
Bitcoin would be the same. For Bitcoin, we are it's still too speculative, too volatile, but it has the same features, has a store of value, a currency nobody can print, a very clear thing, proof of work, which gold is as well. Gold price is at the end the cost of mining it plus the supply and demand.
I want to set the record straight here. Does it make sense to invest in gold jewelry or gold as an asset? Manjusha is clearly talking about jewelry.
Beautiful.
Word, because you have a link. I mean what is an investment? An investment is when you put money in something and you expect some return.
Returns. Yes,
so,
always.
Gold, you have no yield. It doesn't give you a coupon or whatever. That's just gold. So the return you expect is this appreciation over time, which means the depreciation of other currencies, because gold is just a currency when you think about it.
Yeah.
So with the enjoyment of your jewelry, you had another nature of return, and I think it works because at the end it
like how
works.
you think, Maurice. You're on the same page. I love it. I knew the word. I may not know the difference between the balance sheet, can't read them, or a map, but I can definitely know I did something right there.
And even if you're panicked about some big trouble in financial markets, if there is a sovereign debt crisis, it's even better to have physical gold.
Yes, buy the real
because
24 karat.
and even in the 30s, nobody reminds that because we were not born, of course, but in the 30s, the US government gave an order to everyone to give their gold, physical gold, to the central bank. Sometimes you have this.
This is post the Great Depression after
Oh, I knew it. I
don't remember the year exactly, but it was a law. You bring your gold. You have no
so
choice.
Gold rocks.
It tells you how precious it is. I guess many people just kept their gold hidden. I don't know what happened back in
Gold rocks. That's all I have to say. That's my biggest takeaway.
Never have 100% of your investment in gold.
No, I spend the other 70%. I promise you that.
I was explaining the 40, 30, 20, 10 principle to her yesterday. And she was like, what are these numbers? For her, it is 70, 30.
It's all reverse.
No, but I'm already happy to hear.
Don't give away the farm, Danisha. Don't throw me under the bus. But it's so true.
Everyone should have in mind this kind of thing. Or just saying, save 10 to 20% of what you make. As simple as that.
Yeah. That's doable.
And I'm happy to hear that, because we don't hear that a lot. And in Dubai, you have kids, right? We spoil them a bit, but for my kid at some point, I said, no, now you will have a budget. And the funny thing is that they saved everything, which is weird.
Really? Oh. See, you raised them right, Maurice. I'm telling you. Great teacher to your children.
Actually, they save the money I give them, and I pay for the stuff they want.
I think basically
you ended smarter.
I think they're far more smarter.
But I like the way this conversation is going, Maurice. But I want to know, what were you as a child? Like, were you frugal with money, or did you have like a reckless phase where you just went around burning everything that you made?
Oh, I'd love that phase of yours, where you're burning everything, yalla.
I was a child, you're sure? That's interesting. Oh my God, I didn't care at all about money when I was a child. I was very happy in a small town. My father was a doctor. My grandfather, my great-grandfather was all doctors, so I have broken kind of lineage.
Wow.
And,
I see.
I was a very happy kid. I liked music and mathematics, and I didn't care about money. We didn't have much money, by the way, but we were very happy. It was, for my generation, I don't know, money was not even a concept when you were a kid.
Oh, that's so interesting.
It was not at all. A thing. You didn't want to impress your neighbor or to show that you had money, or you were not struggling at all. You had a middle class homogeneous, and kids were just.
Things were
Yeah,
just
but you
normal
lived in a simpler time.
Yeah.
That's it. I think it was a simpler time.
Yeah.
Right now, I doubt if it is, because I have my kids who come to me saying that, oh, my friend has a yacht. I'm like, who has a yacht? I'm like, why? Why do you have, I mean, the friend, why is she allowed to use a yacht? I'm like, no, Arya, you know what I mean? So these are the
I understand.
conversations now I'm having.
Yeah.
Earlier, like, I'm thinking about my childhood. I'm like, forget a yacht. I mean, we had to go in cycles.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
That's it.
I mean,
That's it. Keep it simple.
too much. I mean, we couldn't afford
a
Barbie
bit too
dolls.
much.
Barbie
I can
dolls.
say. The cycle is, I know, another generation of like, that's my parents' generation.
But what is the biggest myth in finance that you want to bust?
Well, let's say in investment-related finance, because there are so many
Yes.
parts of finance. I would say it's this idea that you can get rich quick. And I'm sorry, we all want to get rich quick.
Yes.
Very
course,
soon.
I
I'm in for
prefer
that.
without working.
I will wait another 5 hours. That's it.
That's it. I want the money.
The thing is that it happens. I'm not saying that it never happens, but it's extremely rare, and it's an issue, especially in our world now, where you have lots of let's call them finfluencers,
Yes.
who
the
sometimes
influence.
just
And
want to
scam
sell you
artists as
trainings
well,
to tell
yeah.
you, hey, you can become as rich. You see the guy with the pink Lamborghini and his girlfriend, and you see this kind of thing sometime in Dubai, and we'll say, hey, you just have to pay $200 and I will teach you how to be as successful as me. And man, if it was so easy, you wouldn't need to sell any training, but because it's extremely difficult. And it's really this idea that short-term trading can make you rich quickly. There are a few exceptions, there are a few geniuses, otherwise it can be lots of luck, it happens. It can be very dishonest things, and it happened in the sphere of meme coins and NFTs. And for the rest, if there were a method a discipline to get rich quick. I mean, all hedge funds in the world would do that, and then it would disappear because it would have been already done by this large asset. So it doesn't exist, and people are still trying, and it's a shame, because I know it's a bit sad when I come and tell people, we can confidently offer you 6 to 8% annual return for the next 10 years.
Right.
It doesn't make anyone dream, really. And when they want to do the high octane trade, I tell them, okay, look, take a core part of your portfolio, put it in our 6 to 8%.
Yes.
Which means after 7 years, your capital doubles. It's not nothing. And play with something else.
Yes.
Some money that you can lose, some money that you would have spent or done.
Because I've always wondered about real estate, for instance. Many people say, oh, I may not invest in Dubai because I don't know about, again, geopolitics. Like you said, what would you say? Is real estate in Dubai or in the UAE a great idea?
Well, this is, I will put some conditions, but that's
Yes.
because of the prices. First, it's always a good idea long term, because I only believe that this country will see more population and more prosperity over the long term. Then you have people who speculate, you have people who invest, and you have people who buy to live. And buying, if you think you will stay in this country, buying a place to live in is always a good idea. There's absolutely
No, I'm so happy
no
to
question.
hear that.
Investment, why not? But it's currently, for me, a bit expensive in Dubai, a bit more reasonable in Abu Dhabi, but it's more cyclical. And again, it's not an issue for the long run, and speculation never, because I think that these people who send people in queues for the off plan to put a down payment, hoping to sell it back and whatever, this is
flip.
dangerous. To flip, exactly.
Yes.
And I don't like to see that in real estate, which is really at the end of the day to provide a roof on families. But that's just me.
Yes. Play it safe.
But,
You're just saying,
but
if you're going to live,
that you
why
will
not?
stay more than 5 years, and it's always a good idea.
So you think your debt, whatever debt you take, should not exceed 5 years? That's the maximum time you should give.
No, it's just that you can take a mortgage on much longer.
For 15.
Or whatever. In terms of debt, I like this idea that whatever happens, your monthly payment should never be more than a third of what you make, and a third is already a bit.
I like that.
It's
a bit high. So it's as simple as that. So if you need to extend the length of the debt, it's not an issue. It's just that over 5 years, frankly, you can lose like 20-25% worst case on the value of your home, and over 5 years, you won't have paid, let's say, pretty much this 25% because the rental yields are like 5 in terms of rent. So you're good. You would have paid a bit of interest on your debt. You would have paid back probably over 5 years 30-35% of your mortgage. So all in, you don't take a risk. But if it's after 2 or 3 years, if you lose 20% on the price, yes, you're a bit in trouble because you won't have repaid enough of your mortgage.
Maurice, you play with other people's money. I know that you may play it safe, but with your own money and your own salary, do you play it safe? What kind? Are you a bull or a bear? Did I get it right,
Yes,
Dhanusha?
I did. You did. You got it right.
Okay.
I knew only
It's a
2
big
words,
thing
honey.
for her,
Yeah. It's a big thing. I'm having this conversation.
It's wording, but we don't play with our clients' money at all. We advise, we do things very seriously because I take what we do very seriously. Again, it's people's future. It's very important. With my own money, it happens that I don't like to look at it too much, and it's a general advice, by the way, for portfolio. Especially, we have temptations to trade all the time from social media, from the trading platform that make money out of your transaction, not out of your of the account you have. And it's a good advice not to trade too much, to look at too many things. And my positioning is quite conservative because I have in mind to buy a home in a certain place, a house, which I'm looking. So currently my money is, I have 20% in equity, and it's mostly Chinese equity diversification.
Yes.
I have a large allocation to gold as well, because in case
He's
something
my
happens-
kind.
No, but it's also because
Jewelry? I'm kidding. I am kidding.
we'll
Do you like jewels
my
too?
teeth in gold.
That's the only way to go. Yes.
But again, it's because I have in mind that in the coming 2 or 3 years, I will take this portfolio, liquidate it to buy a house. So and
have a
money
plan.
market fund, because the short-term interest rate, you do 4% in US dollar, little more in dirham on short term with no risk and nothing.
So what's your biggest fear? You haven't answered that.
Biggest fear? In
Yes,
which
in your
field?
life.
Because
In your line of work.
In your line of work.
in my line of work, it's definitely the levels of public debt in the West.
Okay.
That's we are at the end of the business as usual there, and the big concern is that, and we will have an issue anywhere between. I don't know, the end of this year and the next 3 or 4. We will have an issue. And maybe it's just about, they will just print money the Japanese way, and there will be a kind of a global coordination to do that. But in this case, gold will go to 10,000.
Oh, wow.
No, maybe, I don't know, but
Yeah. But
Bitcoin, whatever. And and the other thing is about the how AI will impact the economy.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
At a macro level, because it will really, I mean, it's huge productivity gains, which is wonderful. And maybe we will all have to work less and on much more interesting things.
I like that.
Yeah.
But which is what I like to think. But you also have some people, what's the name of this economist? Davos Darling, the guy who wrote *Sapiens* and everything. So very smart guy, and he said something horrible. He said, "Oh, with AI there will be the emergence of a useless class.
Yeah.
Like
Scary.
30-40% of the population." And we said pretty much we'll keep them quiet with video games and drugs and universal basic income. And you think, wow, if this is what will happen,
What happened?
this has huge economic impact on everything. I mean, on life, you can even ask, is it really God's project to have a guy on video games and whatever? But even on the economy, on the nature of capital and political stability, because I don't know. So that's a question. I like very much the idea that it's productivity gains and that we will all get rid of many mechanical things and thrive. But there is an unknown.
Just to simply put it, is the future positive or bleak in the financial context? You can be 100% honest.
Yeah. I believe that we are You were asking about bull markets or bear markets.
Bear
markets.
So,
Yes,
as you
yes.
know, a bull is positive, bear is negative. I don't know. I
Thank
have
you for
nothing
letting me know
against-
that. Yes,
Yeah.
Nothing
thanks.
against bears, which
No,
maybe
no.
are more
Yeah,
sympathetic
we love
animals
bears
than bulls.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bull is good.
And
Yeah.
you have lots of time horizon to measure that. You have cyclical market phases and secular market phases that last years or decades, usually around the big change, like the end of World War II you were mentioning, the rise of the internet. These are long periods. And I believe, unfortunately, that we are approaching the end of a secular bull market for equities. And
Yes.
and one of the reasons being, by the way, the fact that we reach the limit of this public debt thing, that inflation might be sustained for a bit more for many reasons, from the green transition to the global defense to for and debt as well, for a few reasons. So I believe that we are in this phase. Having said that, the future is always bright by nature, because I mean, even in a secular bear market, which I believe we will have, it doesn't mean that everything goes down and it's a nightmare. It means that we have more volatility. You have sudden rallies as well.
Yeah.
It's more difficult to operate in, but the long term always work. Over 20 years, you will always make lots of money with equity, because it's a nominal asset. It happens. I mean, inflation is part of the equity return, which is not in the bonds. Sorry, I'm losing you.
Eyes just glazed over. Just glazed over. But no, go on.
But I think we'll have a more difficult times ahead. And by the way, in the fixed income, which is bonds, we had secular bull market for the best part of the last 20 years. It ended in 2022 when inflation came back, and now that it has corrected, you can get 4-5% return with low risk on high quality corporates. I'm not talking about some governments. And that's a good news. So there is always something to do. We will work on our strategic asset allocation, which is how we build portfolios looking not at next year, but at the decade ahead. And we work on that. So I think it's going to be a more difficult time. With lots of technology disruptions, AI and many others. The good news is that it means that it will be useful to have a CIO and
Excellent.
and to have some
On that
advice.
very optimistic note, I think we should have the fun bit.
What is the one Dubai indulgence or cliche that you allow yourself?
Cigars and nice watches, because here you can wear them without having somebody attacking you.
So true. So true. I love that.
I like that.
If Gen Z walked into your office with TikTok stock tips, would you hear them out or run for cover?
I would always listen, because you never know. My conclusion may be to do the opposite, but I would stay open.
Oh, I like it.
What's the most ridiculous thing, could be, from any time in your career, that someone has ever asked you to invest in or asked for your investment advice in?
Be honest.
Yeah, I have an example in mind. I don't know how to say that. It was the IPO of an, let's say, in the 2000, techno, media, telecom, everything was going IPO, and it was an adult entertainment company.
Adult entertainment.
Oh my God. Okay, that's nice. If someone were to play you in a biopic, who would it be? Yes.
Oh my God.
I can imagine.
Biopic of me, it will be very confidential.
Imagine he'll be in good suits, but who could it be?
Oh my God, I have no clue, and I don't know actors.
Somebody tall for sure.
Who's the tallest actor?
I like Javier Bardem. Or Bradley Cooper, the hair.
Oh, I love this.
George Clooney.
I'm very happy that you said Bradley Cooper. I would have never dared, but
Bradley
yes.
Cooper.
Bradley
is
Cooper,
good.
the
Let's
hair.
call him, I'm sure.
But in your opinion, which finance theme movie do you think got it perfectly right?
The Big Short, absolutely.
Okay. You work in a very high pressure field, like banking. What keeps you grounded when everybody else is losing their marbles around you?
Well, it doesn't happen very often that everybody panics. And we don't, because it's a matter of, purpose, to take care of people's future on a time horizon. We've been there before, I panicked when I was 28 when the TMT bubble exploded. I was in full panic. I was screaming away, and now it's a bit better. And
I see.
Yeah, I would say that. And the discipline, because if you have the right process, your portfolios are built to give you options when this happens.
Okay.
Right.
Fair enough. Last question.
And how would you define Dubai hustle in one word?
Optimism.
Oh,
I think.
nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I love that.
I like that.
We believe
I
in
like
the future,
optimism.
and we like this in many places.
Yeah. From our conversation, I understand that you've somehow really managed to humanize investment and finance, right? So, but do you think it is a very people-friendly industry? Is it warm? Is it welcoming? Is it for everyone to sort of, adopt, learn, understand from?
Again, there is a bit of jargon. There is a bit of this idea that we do very complicated things and make lots of money and everything. But at the end, it's something that everyone should learn. The good news is that it's easy to learn. It's very rewarding. The learning curve is infinite. I mean, I learn every day. I do that for 30 years, but you learn every day. It's a window on the world because everything matters. Geopolitics, global trade, technology, innovation. And it's very rewarding. And the good news is that we live in an era where you can start small. I mean, you can put 1,000 dirhams in 3 ETFs and make a portfolio that is seriously compelling, and you see how it works, how it evolves when there is a shock between the bonds and the stocks and the gold, of course.
I like it, gold. How I've become the paragon of gold, yes.
Strongly anyone to go that route. It's very rewarding. Again, we live at a time when you can invest small, and it's a good idea to invest small because if you do something stupid, you won't lose your, your life savings, and you can also have access to amazing resources online. You just have to filter all the guys that are trying to sell you any training. You just forget.
Yes.
But you have amazing literature and things online.
Thank you
Maurice,
so
for your
much,
lovely
Maurice, for
time.
joining us. Thank
Yes.
you. We had such a great time. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I feel like I've graduated with honors today.
Thank you for staying with us. Make sure to log on to www.gulfnews.com. See you next week.